Hungary, Indonesia, Philippines, and the rest of the world, welcome. We are reminding everyone to double check if they have pre-registered on our provided link, and stay tuned as we will begin shortly.
JAAP is a group of scholars who had been sponsored by the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science, or JSPS, and had completed their PhD Ronpaku program in Japan. Dr. Pag-asa D. Caspilio from De La Salle University, or DLSU, was the founding president. She was followed by Dr. Maria Natalia R. Di Maano from the University of Santo Tomas, and then by Dr. Maricar S. Prudente, also from DLSU. During the time of Dr. Prudente in 2012, the PRF was reorganized and was transformed into JAAP, covering not only the JSPS Ronpaku Fellows but also all the other fellows that had undergone exchange programs in Japan through the JSPS Scholarship and Exchange Programs. A JSPS PIN is provided by JSPS for each JSPS alumni through JAAP. JAAP was registered under the Securities and Exchange Commission in 2013. During the term of Dr. Gaspilio, PRF Connect, which was the official newsletter of the organization, was published. During the term of Dr. Prudente, JAAP started the Research Symposium and General Assembly meeting where JSPS Bangkok, led by Professor Kuniaki Yamashita, started to take part in the activities. Ties with the JSPS Bangkok was strengthened. The JSPS Bridge Fellowship Program was also launched. From 2014 to 2016, Dr. Jaime Montoya, the Executive Director of the DOST Philippine Council of Health Research and Development, or DOST-PCHRD, became the President of JAAP. During his term, the Research Symposium and General Assembly meeting of JAAP became a component of the National Science Technology Week of DOST. At that time, JAAP came under the umbrella of the International Cooperation of DOST, where Dr. Leah J. Buendia was serving as Assistant Secretary. JAAP's official website, www.jsps-jaap.org, went online, and JAAP was featured in the JSPS Quarterly, the international newsletter of JSPS. From 2016 to 2018, Dr. Susan Gallardo of DLSU became JAAP President. During her term, the PRF Connect was revived and rebranded as JAAP Connect. JAAP Connect became the official newsletter of JAAP. The JAAP Outreach Program was launched where Mulanay Quezon was named its first beneficiary. The first JAAP Technology Forum was held at the Central Luzon State University, or CLSU. From 2018 to 2020, Dr. Renato G. Reyes, Vice President for Academic Affairs of CLSU, became JAAP President. His Vice President was Dr. Danilda Hufana Duran, Scientist of the Department of Agriculture Philippine Carabao Center, or PCC. Dr. Reyes launched the JAAP International Research and Development Conference and strengthened the outreach programs in collaboration with the Fulbright Philippines Alumni Association, or FPAAA, where Dr. Danilda Hufana Duran was the president. JAAP also launched in 2019 the selection and awarding of the Outstanding Filipino JSPS Fellows, with ASEC Leah J. Buendia serving as the chairperson of the selection committee. Due to the lockdown caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, JAAP launched its first ever webinar series in partnership with the International Affairs Office of CLSU. All Filipino scholars and grantees registered as members of JAAP to foster closer ties among them and together realize their full potential for the service of the countries whom they owe their professional excellence.
That was the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science Alumni Association of the Philippines introduction video. And now we will have a glimpse of Aurora State College of Technology and its commitment to academic excellence.
The province of Aurora is known as the hidden gem in the east coast of Central Luzon. For its lush greeneries, mesmerizing seaside, rich culture, arts, and history situated in one landscape. At the heart of the province lies the future.
Let us unceasingly work together to bring ASCOT to the world, position ASCOT in the world, and make ASCOT relevant to the world. Let our students be global learners, our faculty members and staff as global influencers, our alumni as global ambassadors, our partners as global benefactors.
Being the beacon of standard and quality education for over 26 years, Aurora State College of Technology continues to bring more opportunities for students and faculty. From its humble beginning in 1993 with 301 students and 10 classrooms, the late Senate President Edgardo Angara envisioned an institution that could provide equal opportunity for all. ASCOT has grown and developed into a bigger institution of higher learning, now having 3 campuses. The Zabali campus in Baler, the Basel campus in Maria Aurora, and the Esteves and FTC campus in Casiguran, all fruits of continuous nurturing as seen today. With the full support of the Commission of Higher Education, ASCOT is ready, now more than ever, to be recognized in global spectrum.
Join me in embracing the core values of ASCOT. D for dependability, R for responsiveness, E for empathy, A for adaptability, M for mindfulness.
Welcome to ASCOT, dedicated to empowering minds and shaping the future to the world, in the world, and for the world.
Let us unite to bring out the best of ASCOT.
Please rise for the Philippine National Anthem, and let us also pay tribute to our partner country, Japan, by listening to its national anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, kaya sa sinangalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nanalang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng pagaw, ay hinatang tulakaw.
To our participants and guests, you may now take your seats. Good afternoon, everyone, and now I am honored to have with us our Vice President for Academic Affairs as she welcomes us to this event, Dr. Maluz F. Cabatan.
Thank you, Ma'am Nikita. Good afternoon to everyone. We are gathered for this international webinar on paradigm shift in education at the onset of the 21st century, this 19th day of February 2025, which happens to be a holiday in Aurora province in celebration of its founding anniversary. The Aurora State College of Technology is fortunate to have a very supportive president in the person of Dr. Renato G. Reyes. Good afternoon, sir. Extending warm welcome and sincere gratitude to our partners. One, the Bulwagang State Agricultural College, represented by its president, Dr. Jameson H. Tan. Good afternoon, sir. The Occidental Mindoro State College, being represented by its college president, Dr. Albert C. Edanyol. The Pampanga State Agricultural University, represented by its university president, Dr. Anita G. David. The Japan Society for the Promotion of Science, or JSPS, Bangkok office, let us welcome the Executive Director, Dr. Yoshio Otani. And to the President of the JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines, Dr. Karl Marx Quezon. At this juncture, we are indeed grateful to have the following speakers. One, Dr. Mark Norman Maka, a visiting research fellow, Kyushu University, Japan, and a guest lecturer at the Institute of Education, University College London, United Kingdom. And Dr. Amirul Mukminin, Director, Research and Community Services, Universitas Hambi, Indonesia. Warm greetings is likewise extended to Mr. Joseph Gonzalez, Director of International, External, and Alumni Affairs of ASCOT, our guests, officials of the college, the deans, faculty, staff, students, and of course, all participants. We acknowledge the efforts of the School of Education, headed by its dean, Dr. Roel Ulila, for coordinating and facilitating this event. Once again, warm welcome to all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Luz, for that very warm welcome. And of course, to kick things off, we have the privilege of hearing from a leader who continues to inspire and drive ASCOT forward. Everyone, let's give a warm welcome to our very own president, Dr. Renato G. Reyes.
Good morning, London. Good afternoon, Southeast Asia. On behalf of the Aurora State College of Technology, I sincerely greet with profound gratitude and warmest felicitations our two esteemed speakers, Professor Dr. Amirul Mukminin from the University Jambi, Indonesia, and Dr. Mark Norman Maka from London. Also our co-organizers, the Japan Society for the Promotion of Science, Bangkok office, headed by Professor Dr. Yoshio Otani,
the JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines, with its president, Professor Dr. Karl Marx Quiazon, Dr. Jameson Tan, the president of Bulacan State Agricultural College, Occidental Mindoro State College with its president, Dr. Albert Idaniol, and Dr. Anita David, the president of Pampanga State Agricultural University, as well as our virtual and in-person attendees of this important international webinar on education with the theme Paradigm Shift in Education at the Onset of the First Quarter of the 21st Century. You are with me in believing that this important gathering serves as a platform of knowledge sharing and academic as well as scientific networking. I enjoined you to be attentive in the presentation of our distinguished speakers and let us engage ourselves in the discussion. Again, a pleasant day to all of us.
Thank you, Dr. Reyes. And of course, up next, we hear from one of our amazing partners in education. Let's all tune in to the message of support from the President of Bulacan Agricultural State College, Dr. Jameson H. Tan.
To all the participants of this international webinar organized by the Aurora State College of Technology in cooperation with JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines, Occidental Mindoro State College, Pampanga State Agricultural University, and Bulacan Agricultural State College. I am very sure that through this webinar entitled Paradigm Shift on the Onset of the 21st Century, you will surely learn from various speakers from different parts of the world that will surely share their expertise relevant to the assigned topics today. To all the participants, please take time to listen carefully, and I am very sure that you will learn from this pre-webinar. Again, kudos to President Renato Reyes for this very, very important webinar. Again, congratulations to the speakers for accepting this invitation to be part of this pre-webinar. Magandang hapon po sa atin.
Thank you for that, Dr. Tan. Another strong partner in our shared mission is here to share a few words. Let's listen to the message from the President of Occidental Mindoro State College, Dr. Albert C. Idaniol.
Distinguished organizers, esteemed guests, fellow presidents, educators, and participants, good day. On behalf of the Occidental Mindoro State College, it is my distinct honor to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the college president, Dr. Renato Reyes, and to the Aurora State College of Technology for successfully organizing this international webinar, a timely and significant endeavor that brings together brilliant minds to discuss the evolving landscape of education in the 21st century. As a trusted partner in higher education within and beyond our country, OMSC is privileged to co-organize this meaningful initiative. We are deeply grateful for the trust and confidence bestowed upon us, and we assure you of our unwavering commitment to supporting such endeavors that advance education, training, and professional development. This collaboration reinforces our shared mission of equipping students, educators, and academic institutions with the knowledge and skills necessary to navigate the ever-changing educational paradigm. For 58 years, OMSC has been a dedicated agent of change, steadfast in its vision of producing excellent graduates, innovative professionals, and lifelong learners. Through outcomes-based instruction, relevant research, responsive technical advisory services, community engagement, and sustainable production, we continuously strive to elevate the standards of education. Our commitment extends not only to providing quality education to the youth of Mindoro and beyond, but also to ensuring that our graduates emerge as champions in their respective fields, leaders who drive progress and innovation in their communities and industries. Moreover, OMSC remains determined in its efforts to enhance the competences of our professors and educators, ensuring that they remain at par with the latest educational standards and trends. By fostering continuous professional development and integrating emerging pedagogical advancements, we empower our faculty members to deliver the highest quality of education to our students, equipping them with the tools to thrive in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. Once again, congratulations to Aurora State College of Technology for spearheading this commendable initiative. Rest assured that OMSC will always be willing to provide assistance and support in advancing training and education for the benefit of our academic communities. May this webinar serve as a catalyst for meaningful discussions and transformative ideas that will shape the future of education. Thank you, and may we all continue to work together in the pursuit of excellence in education.
Thank you for that, Dr. Edanyol. Of course, now we are honored to have with us a dedicated leader whose passion for education and collaboration shines through. Let's give a big welcome to the President of Pampanga State Agricultural University, Dr. Anita G. David. A round of applause, please.
Thank you to Dr. Renato G. Reyes, the President of ASCOT, fellow presidents who are partners of this very great endeavor from headed by ASCOT, of course. And we have Dr. Yoshio Otani, the Executive Director of JSPS in the Bangkok office, to all the faculty members, the students who are here with us today, of course, our speakers. A pleasant day to everyone. This is a really, it's a commendation to President Rene. In the state universities and colleges in the Philippines, this is a product of the friendship that we have because we collaborate. There is no competition anymore among state universities and colleges in the Philippines. And SUCs always have the heart for paradigm shift. Even if the administrators get old, the faculty members get old, but in terms of teaching, in terms of education, we would always embrace the paradigm shift because this is the current call of the landscape of education in the Philippines. And we are fortunate that we have international partners who are doing this for all the SUCs who are here today. And I hope that the faculty members, also the students who are listening, would be able to apply the lessons that would be shared with us later by our speakers. To President Rene, we always salute you for all that you plan for ASCOT, and to the other presidents. All of us would always think of the welfare of our students and of the welfare of our employees. This is an international webinar where all of us would be able to learn. I hope that we will apply all of this or the significant learnings that we will have. To everybody, welcome to this webinar, and we fully support this. We commend the organizers, particularly ASCOT and President Rene Reyes. A good day and God bless everyone. Maraming salamat po.
Ayan, virtual applause as well for Dr. Anita G. David. Of course, from bridging international research to fostering academic partnerships, our next speaker has been instrumental in strengthening global collaborations. Let's all welcome the Director of the JSPS Bangkok office, Dr. Yoshio Otani.
Hello, I'm Yoshio Tani, Director of JSPS Bangkok Office. On behalf of Japan Society for the Promotion of Science, JSPS, I'd like to congratulate the start of JSP Alumni Association of the Philippines, JAAP, webinar series. JAAP started webinar series during the difficult period of the corona pandemic. First webinar series was started in August 2020 with the title of Coping with the COVID-19 pandemic. The title of the second series was Living in the New Normal and Beyond, which lasted from January to September 2021. When JAAP started the webinar series, we could not know what consequences we would have from the outbreak of corona pandemic, and we could not have any measures to handle the COVID-19. Some specialists said once the infection rate reached over 80%, the pandemic would automatically cease without implementing any measures. I guess this is a sort of situation right now. After the settlement of COVID-19, some of our daily lives went back to the one before, but some of them never returned to the same as before. We could say only that corona pandemic surely brought many changes in our lives. The biggest product of fighting corona pandemic is online meeting and also work from home. And they became kind of normal at present because Philippines is an island country. I suppose it is difficult for JAAP members to see each other face to face and frequently. I hope the new webinar series gives an opportunity for JAAP members to communicate and discuss on a regular basis. I wish the new webinar series provide another new normals to JAAP activities. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Otani. And of course, to kick off today's insightful discussions, let's meet our esteemed speakers who will share their expertise and perspectives with us. Leading the way is Dr. Bldg Olila, the dedicated Dean of the School of Education at ASCOT. Let's give him a warm applause.
Dr. Mark Norman Maca is based in the United Kingdom and concurrently a guest lecturer at the Institute of Education, University College London, and research fellow at Kyushu University in Japan. Prior to these appointments, he taught in South Korea and Central Luzon State University. He was a recipient of the European Union's Erasmus Mundus and Japan's Ronpaku Fellowships for his graduate studies. Dr. Maca researches the nexus of Philippine education, labor migration and development policy, and national identity formation in history and citizenship in education curricula and textbooks. He is published internationally and currently working on a book manuscript on the interface of education and the Filipino aspiration to emigrate, due for publication by Routledge this 2025. Before joining academia, Dr. Maca spent 2 decades in the education and development sector and a consultant for the World Bank, ADB, UNICEF, UNDP, and the Department of Education, among others. He was formerly the Secretary General of the Comparative Education Society of Asia from 2021 to 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed resource speaker for this international webinar, let us all welcome Dr. Mark Norman Maca. Dr. Amirul Mukminin is a professor of educational policy in the Graduate School, Faculty of Education, Universitas Jambi, Indonesia. He holds a PhD from Florida State University in Educational Leadership and Policy Studies with a specialization in Sociocultural and International Development Education Studies, an MS in Educational Sciences from Groningen University, the Netherlands, and BA in English Education from the Universitas Jambi. He received a Fulbright scholarship to pursue his PhD and was an Erasmus Mundus postdoctoral researcher at the University of Groningen, the Netherlands. He also received a 2016-2017 Fulbright Senior Research at Claremont Graduate University, California. Ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed resource speaker for this international webinar, Dr. Amirul Mukminin. Let's give them a big hand.
Thank you, Dr. Alila. So, education goes beyond just teacher training. It's about transforming disciplines and shaping the future of learning. As the landscape of academia continues to shift, it's crucial to explore how we can go beyond traditional methods to create meaningful transformations in education. To guide us through this discussion, we are honored to have with us a distinguished scholar who has been actively engaged in research and education on an international scale. Let's give a warm welcome once again to Dr. Mark Maka, the Visiting Research Fellow at Kyushu University, Japan, and guest lecturer at the Institute of Education, UCL, United Kingdom. Hello po, Dr. Maka. Can you hear our round of applause for you?
Yes, thank you for that. Good morning, everyone from where I am. Good afternoon to all of you. It's my honor to join you this afternoon, this morning, in this, as rightly described by university and state college presidents, a great endeavor in this respect. It's 5 o'clock. Yes, only 5:30 here in the morning, so forgive me if I'm off to a slow start. I'm still having my coffee, and please indulge me. You know, it will take me a while to warm up, but with your warm welcome and very inspiring welcome messages from our state colleges presidents, I think we're off to a great start. I just received a message from Dr. Rene that I will have a little bit more time because obviously we started right on time, and gives us hopefully more opportunity to dialogue later or discuss questions that you may have. If I may share my, what do you call this? There you go. My PowerPoint, okay? So, magandang umaga ulit sa ating lahat. I think I have to greet you as well in our language. It's been a while since I have spoken to a Philippine audience, and I'm quite honored, to be honest, when I received the invitation from Dr. Reyes, if I can share my thoughts on, how do I say it? This is a burning issue, at the same time a challenge for all of us, as been mentioned many times over, about shifting paradigms or transforming institutions, especially in the field or discipline of education in the country. I have a disclaimer. This topic which I'm going to share with you, I have presented this a while ago in a very small audience, in a class, in a graduate class there in the Philippines, and I was quite happy that I was able to receive feedback. I didn't really think that I'll be able to share this again, but I'm more than happy to talk about this topic with you today. Okay, given the the vision or the mission and the mission of the organizers of this webinar. As rightly pointed out by, by, by the distinguished heads of colleges involved in this consortium, the state colleges and universities in the country are agents of change, are ready to embrace changes or the challenges of the new century, and it's quite heartwarming to hear, the invocation of Dr. Anita David that amongst you are not competitors anymore, but collaborators, partners, and which gives us, hope that whatever challenges we are facing, especially in the context of the Philippine education landscape and academia, and academia in general, there is much hope for change. And so I must say that even if we are coming from different backgrounds, from different institutions, we are coming together as a community of practice in the field of education. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing your thoughts later. But I have to officially acknowledge and give my thanks to obviously Dr. Rene Reyes and the Aurora State College of Technology for inviting me on to this webinar. And I would also like to acknowledge Dr. Amirul Mukinen, my fellow speaker, and I think we're at some point previous colleagues at the Central Luzon State University, where I spent a short period of time. I have also to acknowledge the different state colleges presidents, Dr. Jameson Tan, Dr. Albert Idanyol, and Dr. Anita David. And lastly, as I have mentioned earlier, I cannot say no to the invitation of my former boss at CLSU, Dr. Rene Reyes. So having said that, I have warmed up a little bit already and have had my coffee. Let's start, okay? So, so today I thought I'd share with you an interesting experience I've had when I was here with Central Luzon State University, and when Dr. Rene Reyes was the Vice President for Academic Affairs during that period. And since we're talking about paradigm shifting, tackling the enormous challenge of the new century, accepting the vision of the future of education, not just in the Philippines, in the ASEAN region, and even worldwide, I thought it's instrumental, for us to learn from this experience of, I would say, it's local, obviously, to CLSU, but for me, it's profound. I mean, the experience was profound. The experience was a great learning opportunity because I don't think I have seen that kind of organizational transformation that quick, during that short period of time I've had with Central Luzon State University. And it was, but it was a transformation informed by different perspectives, especially coming from outside. Me, I'm not really from Central Luzon State University, but organically, but I came in at the right juncture of their history, institutional history, which I would talk more about later. So that was the background of how the College of Education push itself literally, to transform, to evolve, to change at the time, and I will discuss more about it later. So so for this morning, I would want to share with you that origin story, and as I highlighted in the title of my talk, it is an organizational transformation, which I foresee will have profound impact on the way they do things around there, especially in terms of collaborating, networking, um, even changing perspective or accepting new paradigms in terms of the practice and or the field or discipline of education in CLSU. So that is where I am coming from, and hopefully I'll be able to deliver or present with you, for me, what I consider a success story. And I hope my former CLSU colleagues will take pride in this, in what they were able to do. So yeah, so let me move forward. So as I mentioned, if I may highlight, I said that it's traditional Philippine teacher education institution because uh, it's the same as everyone else, in the country. The model is teacher education, but we are hoping, we are praying, we are anticipating that this transformation will stand beyond this traditional remit of a college of education, and evolve into a more interdisciplinary and more collaborative field or discipline within CLSU and beyond, and hopefully by talking about this consortium of state colleges will be able to pick some lessons in this experience and also see that possibility, talk about possibilities, obviously there will be challenges, but there will be possibilities as well, which hopefully everyone will embrace and acknowledge, and as what our college presidents have encouraged or posed to us, we should be open-minded about this, and not shy away from it altogether. So, having said that, so why do we need this kind of conversation of paradigm shifting, championing transformation, or acknowledging, that we need to go beyond what we are comfortable with, what we thought as a model of institutional excellence, that we have been so used to all this time. It's been it's been more than a decade since we've had teacher education institutions in the country brought by the Americans, obviously, with the Philippine Normal University, for example, as the main model, and a representative or representation of what education as a discipline and as a field is. So why do we need to look into this? And part of the answer was already mentioned earlier, but we'll talk more about it later. And I think Dr. Amirul will have something more to say about this, especially with this topic on artificial intelligence, which I would try to highlight as well along the way. That's the first one. So the second one is we need to acknowledge what's in front of us. What are the challenges posed to us educators, especially those who are doing education studies, who are training future cadre of teachers in the country. We're talking about futures of education. We're talking about it's plural. This is not just one future of education. This is it's a multiverse, just like the DC comics or the superheroes arc of story, and these kind of futures are being discussed by UNESCO and international organizations such as OECD. And the future of education, unfortunately, is being framed within a crisis narrative And if you actually, the words will be are usually very, how would I say it, very it's very futuristic. At the same time it's very utopian, creates your vision of the future of education, the role of teachers in particular, nicely written, how do you say it, harmlessly framed, um, but the underlying idea and concept can be a bit scary, and I will talk more about it really later because it it is now moving more towards this vision of the role of teachers or educators being more formal and yet more individualized. The vision is, I think, one of the criticism that's being highlighted here is that education or teachers in particular are like superheroes. We're able to do everything in a way, all from curriculum and instruction all the way to mental health or well-being of the teachers. So there's this whole narrative, there's this whole idea of moving towards of individualization, and I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of responsibilization. Everything becomes an, a responsibility of an individual teacher within his or her classroom, not anymore the classic idea or the classic formulation where education is a responsibility of a community, of a village. You know, it takes a village to educate the child, if you remember that saying. But that one, this vision is goes beyond that, or getting far away from, with more responsibility being put into the what do you call this, into the individually, as a personal remit of the teacher. So that is one. The third one would be education studies in the Philippines being delimited to teacher training, as I mentioned earlier, at the normal school model, and not moving towards a wider scope, which includes education society. That is what I always highlight. You know, every time I talk, and I've seen it. I've been seeing it for the last 20 years. We haven't moved from that model, and hopefully, I don't know, we can start this conversation, and you can move forward when you go back to your own institutions as well. And the other reason is that, again, part of the model is that teacher licensure examination and the performance of each college of education is a proxy indicator for institutional excellence. We haven't changed that; it's the same. So I think we're also there's also the reason why we're stuck on this model of and the model and practice of education studies or education as a field and a discipline in the country. So in total, we need to rethink the existing model, the existing college of education model, which is just purely based on or focused on teacher education. So that is, I think, one of the challenges. I hope you will have in mind while we're going through this talk, and hopefully, you know, when we go towards the end of the session. So where I am coming from, so I have to have this in the beginning, so you know you would understand where I am coming from. So some of you might think that who am I to talk about this when I'm outside the country? I'm not even in the Philippines. But before leaving the country, I was very much into education work, as 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 mentioned earlier in the introduction. And thankfully, I was exposed to Philippine education sector systemic issues when I was still with the University of the Philippines in the first decade of my professional practice, and I was also involved in decades-long development work engagement in education programs and projects. And I was lucky to teach at Central Luzon State University. I've had the opportunity to um, to see or to initiate, I would say, and to collaborate with my previous colleagues in this transformation of their college of education. And after leaving the country, I taught in South Korea, and now I'm in the UK. And and for me, this informed my view or perspective on this particular area of education studies. I also had the opportunity to work collaboratively in international education studies, which are very multi and interdisciplinary, which goes beyond or not even on tangentially focused only or touch only on teacher education. And I was also very fortunate to study abroad and was able to see and was able to get a comparative lens on how things are done in these countries, especially as a avid history of education history. I was able to see different institutions of education evolve or change or metamorphose into a new organization as a response to these many challenges in the field or the discipline. And I would also claim that my identity is as an education comparativist. I know this is not a popular and common um, field in the Philippines, comparative education. So I hope you will understand where I'm coming from and discuss along the way the lens of a comparativist in the word itself, being able to compare and learn and adopt and borrow from from other institutions among yourselves, hopefully, which is what we are doing right now, and from a neighboring country, within the same region, and beyond. So I'm in the UK right now. So my view and perspectives and insights are informed by this lens. And I am also a history of Philippine education scholar. So I'm very much into understanding what has happened in the past for me to be able to understand the present and hopefully guide us of what is coming in the future. You know, the lessons from the past informing the future will prepare us for what's coming from the future, which I'm not trying to scare you. It can be a bit disturbing and at the same time exciting. So that is where I'm coming from. So having said that, sorry about that. Why am I saying, why am I claiming that there is not, the landscape of education as a discipline and as a practice in the country is not changing? I don't know if you remember this organizational chart of the sorry, oh, did I just lose my, sorry about that. Nawala yung ano ko po, ano, sorry, share. Okay, sorry. So I hope you remember the structure of the old Ministry of Education, Department of Education, where they are divided into bureaus, the Bureau of Elementary Education and Bureau of Secondary Education and Bureau of Non-Formal Education. And and if you look at your own colleges of education, I suspect you are still divided along this or organizational structure. And it's the same when I arrived in Central Luzon State University. And now, this is now the latest diagrammatical and visual rendition of education department's organizational structure. So I need not emphasize the obvious. Most bureau centers, service units have been reorganized according to a function in the delivery of basic education across the country. So my question is, should the main education departments in the country follow suit? And what would be the compelling reason for such push to transform the organization after a century of following what I just mentioned earlier as the normal school or model, or quite literally what I call the PNU model? Of course, there's nothing wrong with it if it serves your purpose. And I was reading last night the latest research on the status of teacher education in the country. And obviously that's the main function, that's the main mandate of most colleges of education, to train and to produce teachers practically for the public school system. We have almost a million public school teachers and across 46,000 schools in the country. So the reason why I'm highlighting this is because of that particular, how do you say it, delimitation. With that, with this, following with this structure of the Ministry of Education in the past, and having kept that for a long time, for me as delimiting, uh, uh, delimitation for everyone, which we need to cross. We need to have cross that boundary. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the new structure, and if we look at the particular brand of JAAP which addresses uh, or which kind of drives or connects with the mandate of most colleges of education across the country, this is within this group, So from the bureau across grade level or across levels of education at the basic education sector, we have transformed into this according to function. So please bear this in mind, because hopefully this will give you an idea of, hopefully when you transform or when you move towards changing or moving towards a new model of your colleges of education, you will consider that that kind of change is I would say it is makes sense or sensible or valid, and
Excuse
you don't need
po.
to convince your stakeholders that we need
Hello
to move forward
po.
beyond this kind of organization. So yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we're stuck with this model. I have to highlight, I have a friend at Benguet State University. We were able to keep the name of their education department as teacher education college, because that is what they do. So they're keeping it real. As I mentioned earlier, CHED has an equally narrow view of the function and mandate and disciplinary scope. I remember the Center of Excellence in relation to education as a field and the discipline is really limited on teacher education. So
Excuse me
from the
po,
get-go,
Dr. Maka.
that is the expectation, okay? So how about educational policy studies, which I will go into later, and educational innovations, how to CHED and the wider education sector recognizes that? How is it being
Oh, oh,
incorporated in acknowledging, for example, um, what good is being are being done by a college of education or department of education or institute of education, a particular university, and one of the, and lastly, this interface between education and society, those are the things which
good
for me,
afternoon po,
I
Dr.
need.
Maka. Hello po.
Yes,
Can you hear us
yes,
po? This is
yes.
Nikita po, the host for the event. We have noticed, sir, that the presentation that is being presented on live is the presenter screen po. Would you like it po,
Okay.
sir, na will be the ones to present on your behalf po? So you could also see the interactions or the reactions of the viewers po.
Okay. No, no, no. Okay, I can change that from my end.
You would
Sorry.
like to reshare? All right po, sir. Thank you.
Sorry. PowerPoint. Okay. Okay. I can stop sharing. Okay, and I'll do this. Okay. So. I have. There you go. Is it okay now?
It's still loading
No.
on our end, sir.
It says it's paused. So sorry. Stop share. But am I on the right? Sorry. Am I on the right? Share. Okay. is it being shown now?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, sir. It's okay na po. Thank you
It's okay.
po.
Okay. So sorry about that. So as I mentioned earlier, these are the delimitations. This is the current view where we are at now. I don't know if you share with me this observation or this perspective about how we have delimited ourselves and we haven't crossed those boundaries. And is it because of we haven't resolved yet whether we are education is a discipline or as a field in this respect. So I'm not gonna discuss that at length here. This particular slide alone will take us another 3 hours, I suppose, of debate and discussion. But elsewhere, where I am from, where I am now, education as a discipline or as a field is covers all this. It involves education studies, which covers education theory. Uh, we obviously began or emanated from pedagogy, which seeks to describe and understand education. And there are subfields under it, so education research, theory, curriculum theories, and the intersection between other social sciences, so psychology, philosophy, sociology, economics, and history education. I didn't get to finish the additional education technology, obviously, is emerging, and which is Dr. McKinnon will discuss with us later today, later in the next session. Versus this is happening elsewhere versus the traditionalist or purist model, and I call the normal school model, and which is inordinately unnecessarily focused, or is necessary, but there's just too much emphasis on pedagogy related effectiveness studies, which uses school or the classroom as a site of study, and not in relation to wider societal issues. If you look at, I don't know if you're familiar with seminal studies, Santino, Doronita, Diokno, and other scholars. Some of them, most of them, Doronila and Diokno in particular, they're also education scholars, but their studies cover beyond happening in the classroom and the school, and it was looking into wider Philippine society, especially in relation to history education or national identity studies. And I will highlight earlier, part of the reason probably is the methods, the education research method that we are using, that we are so used to, that we shy away from doing textbooks analysis, which I do, so I can be biased on this particular method. But just to highlight a point. So the next would be so are we really a discipline or a field? I don't think the debate there's really much need for such debate, in-depth debate, but there are criteria for us to look whether we are a discipline or as a field. And education, according to this criteria, five criteria in particular, is a discipline in itself. It is an academic discipline. It is education is a particular object or focus, and it has an accumulated specialist knowledge. We have theories, we have specific terminologies, and we use specific research methods. And it's just as I just mentioned, which quite unique to the field or to our discipline, which we try to shy away from it, or maybe we are afraid, or are we um, are we not yet ready, or how we're gonna prepare to embrace such challenges. So there is sufficient evidence to depict education as an academic discipline. So having said that, so what happened to Central Luzon State University's College of Education? And I thought I better highlight this from the beginning now, before I run out of time later. How do I say? Where do I start? So maybe I just need to highlight, what I have, what we have experienced at the time, and how the transformation happened. What were the crucial factors that resulted to such change? But I have to highlight three particular, how do you say it, characteristics or particular factors that for me was one of were the reasons holding back the College of Education to achieving its potential, or to understanding even the role, in the wider CLSU community, in the wider Central Luzon community, and even in the whole Philippines. And when I arrived to CLSU, I was telling Dr. Reyes how how auspicious the time is to move forward, to evolve, and to change, and how CLSU should capitalize on their unique position within the community, within the region, and the country at large. But they were being held back by three particular factors. The first one was, this is very common in academia, and don't get me wrong, it's not just in CLSU, it's happening everywhere elsewhere. And when I presented this talk a couple of months ago, it was in a context not just on CLSU, but other state universities as well. And we're doing comparisons. One of which is gatekeeping, and gatekeeping in academia is very common. So when you say gatekeeping, someone or a group is trying to kind of fence off, this is our territory, and I go to the topic later. This is who we are. This is what we do. So the intention is good, but it puts everyone blinders, So that is one that kind of that can hold you back. So this is the wider description of the practice, but in the Philippines, it can be, in the context of state universities and colleges, it can be very petty at some point, So like, we are the seniors, and this is what we do. We are education people. We're keeping you up because you're not part of the tribe. So tribalism as well. So I don't know if it's happening in your universities or in your state colleges or in your departments, but it is very common. And when you have a tribe, you have your own language, you have your own standards of doing things, you have different attitudes towards collaboration and interdisciplinarity. So it defines you, that's your identity as a group. So you imbibe that, and unfortunately it gets passed on to generation of scholars and practitioners within the community, academic community, and it becomes a barrier to interdisciplinarity, and it makes difficult for everyone to do cross-disciplinary studies, and even just to communicate and collaborate. It's very fascinating anecdotes. Hopefully I have the time, and maybe I can talk about it when you do question and answer later. When we were at at Central Luzon State University, in relation to this, some of them can be quite funny, at the same time ludicrous and harmless, to be honest. And it's just the parochiality of the view, not having a tunnel vision, not having that, wide open, forward looking, and future embracing perspective. And it obviously results as well to exclusionary practices. Again, we have to do it our way because this is the education way. That is, we are teacher educators. You are not. You're doing, for example, you are hard science. You don't have the authority. You are not credible to teach, for example, science, because you haven't you don't have education as a degree, something like that. I vividly remember those kinds of perspectives, or those kind of reasoning. And if you're interested, you can look into these studies where the concept of academic tribes happen. Actually, you can, if you're really interested, it could be part of your master's or PhD study if there's what I'm telling you now is valid. So you can look into this concept of academic tribes if you want. So this started in the 1980s, and this particular book is very interesting as well. So the third one, the final one, which is very common, not just in education sector and everywhere elsewhere, even in the government bureaucracy, is the institutional organizational inertia. So we're stuck with doing the same thing, um, having the same perspective, the same old thinking, and so we ended up with having the same results. So there is that resistance to change, and I really want to highlight what Dr. Dr. Um, Albert Daniel said about state colleges as agents of change. So yeah, we've seen it, we've experienced it, we are still experiencing it. So what is institutional inertia? So it's our resistance to change, stemming up or coming from entrenched bureaucratic practices, culture. We are just so get used to it. Cannot be we cannot be bothered to change. Parang we have become more comfortable doing things, so we don't want to change to embrace change, or it's be difficult for us to see beyond what's in front of us. So what are the manifestations? Very slow in doing forum. There are hierarchies. We don't want to give up power. We have our own alliances, loyalties, own cliques. So we are so used to working with the same set of people. And innovation responsiveness. We are not responsive because we are within that silos. We are not moving forward. We're comfortable. That's it. And and that makes us complacent and just want to do things the way they are. The way you do. And creates frustration. That's the risk, especially among young faculty in research intensive university, early career scholars. So I don't need to go through this length. I think most of you are aware the background or the profile of CLSU. I just want to point you towards the last end, where that is where specifically I was stationed. When I was with Central Luzon State University, I was with the Central Luzon University's distance open and transnational university, which for me was a great laboratory to institute change. I think the impetus kind of, because we are working collaboratively with the College of Education of Central Luzon State University, it was the osmosis between the two organizations within the university was natural, and the programs that we're offering, which Dr. Mokinen was part of, I think he's still part of LSU that uni's offerings, is very common. So this particular unit of the university was instrumental in influencing or pushing, I think, other units within the university to change, because Central Sun Open University was very active in transnational education with partners in Europe, ASEAN, and Japan. And that is one area altogether which, if you're interested, you can invite them to talk with you how things are being done and how they are moving forward to embracing um, models of delivery of education programs and other academic offerings beyond the traditional mode. Okay, so here's the exciting part. As I mentioned earlier, I can't overemphasize enough. So the Central Luzon State University at the time was just College of Education was just divided among three major departments. So elementary education, secondary education, and the last one is advanced studies in education, where they were doing all graduate level offerings, so master's and doctoral level. And when we move forward to restructuring the College of Education, then ended up with this. So literally, this is a screenshot of how the initial talks, the initial initiatives to change, to transform, to re-engineer College of Education's departments from the beginning. So it was not straightforward. It was also fraught with debates in a way. There were there was a bit of resistance, obviously, because they, as I mentioned earlier, they were so used to doing things the way they are, and thing that I need to highlight really there were alliances really. So it's very common. It's not just in this particular context, and I've seen it. I've seen it here in London. I've seen it here in Europe, because we are, I think it's human nature to have that kind of orientation or that mentality or perspective to, and it's not always counterproductive, but most of the time it holds back the whole organization as a whole. So, as I mentioned, so as this is how it looks like now, So when the old, correct me if I'm wrong here, if someone is from CLSU, this is the old departments, the leftmost column. They have these four departments or groups of people, I would say, divided according to what I showed you earlier, how DepEd was kind of divided or organizationally um, segmented at the time. So I mean, that I think is replicated in different colleges of education across the country. So having pointed it out and having highlighted that there's a need to change, to evolve, because there are more challenges, and there's a challenge to become more research oriented. There is a challenge to go beyond, or acknowledge other expertise within the organization, within the department, within the college, that that goes beyond teacher education. The middle column was proposed, having looked into the profile of the teachers, what kind of research are they doing, the degrees that they were able to especially advanced degrees that they have gained from outside CLSU and within CLSU. And there is this, and recognizing the dynamism, recognizing the diversity, the diversity of talents, the um the and not delimiting themselves within that very narrow view of, we are here just to ensure that we train good teachers, that we perform well in the licensure exams of teachers. So I think that was the messaging at the time. So having said that, it was quite radical at the time because it was a very top-down approach as well. So there were consultations, but it was during the pandemic or post-pandemic immediately. It was top-down in a way that, hey, this is where you are at now. This is the potential that you haven't, that's untapped, and these are the possibilities that can happen if you transform. I think that was the messaging at the time. So the rightmost one is now the current division of departments within the College of Education. So it is now along research or along research themes or thematics. That it's not according to levels of education delivery. So for me, the College of Education of Central Luzon was able to liberate themselves from this very rigid and structurally narrow or organization amongst themselves, and there was also and this was also an opportunity for a flattening of leadership. That those established hierarchies, those cliques, those tribes that were established maybe for years was kind of dismantled, and they were able to reorganize. But I have to acknowledge as well that one of the positive things along the way was CLSU's College of Education faculty is fiercely loyal to the college and to the university, and they were able to go beyond, their personal loyalties and their alliances, and look beyond and ditch their egos, I say, and surrender their, in a way, pride for the common good, and maintain that CLSU brand. So I think that was what the overriding factor was then, and it's just a matter of someone from outside and a leadership who is a risk taker and a visionary leadership in the with Dr. Orden, Dr. Renato Reyes and Dr. Orden at the helm of the university 3 years ago when I was there. So those are, I think, the confluence of factors, if I may say, that contributed to this change. And this is how it looks like now. This is directly from CLSU's College of Education. Um, I would still have wished that they have not dismantled, or redistributed, for example, the Department of Advanced Studies in Education, because the idea then is if the flattening of the hierarchy is to happen, I mean, even the distribution of the graduate programs across the disciplines would, you know, would be a truly, how do you say, flattening of the hierarchy, or reorganizing, or rearranging how or redistributing leadership roles as well, you know, and hopefully it will breed initiative and would train and would prepare second liners in terms of leadership, you know. So leadership gets redistributed. Each department gets or allowed to work collaboratively. For example, the Department of Language, Culture, and Arts Education would be freed from the constraints of not to collaborate with the College of Science, of Arts and Sciences, you know, because there is a very rich opportunity for such partnership. I can talk about it at length, you know, some other time in terms of the possibilities in terms of pursuing, you know, research, interdisciplinary and collaborative research. And so I think I've already went over time. Sorry about that. Having pointed it out, um, what lessons can we glean, can we learn from this experience? You know, some of you might say that, you know, it was a very simple, straightforward, and I mentioned it was probably a fluke at the time, if you're going to ask me, because if I have studied how, for example, the Institute of Education of the University College London has evolved over time. I remember I was looking at how the different departments have changed as a response to, you know, to government policy, to the evolution of the discipline, or the field in general within the country and beyond, even to market demands, you know, from international students, from British students as well. And it wasn't as fast even in the beginning as what CLSU's College of Education is able to achieve. But I think for every organization, it's different. But if I may say, I have to highlight it again, that experience with the College of Education of CLSU was a unique experience, and part of the experience, or the factors that contributed to such change, was timing as well. So we had the perfect timing. We have the perfect brand of leadership, university leadership, visionary, very risk taking, and is that culture as well, the culture of the academic community within CLSU and within the College of Education, forward looking, also not risk averse, and has that overriding feeling of loyalty to the institution and to the brand, which hopefully some of you would be able to look into introspectively among your organizations as well. So what are the implications of, you know, of such change, you know, if we move forward to rethinking, hopefully embracing the challenge to transform your own colleges of education or institutes of education, specifically to teacher education in the country. In doing so, again, as I mentioned earlier, we can expand the scope of education studies by employing inter or multidisciplinary approaches in how we do, you know, education studies. So possibly employing more comparative analysis, policy research, shying away from the very, how do I say it, a traditional model, just doing studies in education way that's prescribed method of everyone has to have a survey in their study. Sorry, I'm not trying to downplay it or degrade it, that kind of approach, but we're so stuck with this particular model of doing education research. The second one is if you're able to move beyond, the traditional subdivision of departments across grade levels, we should be able to build internal capacity within the College of Education, and hopefully they will be able to lead their own research as well. And later on, this could provide, and in doing so, um, the Education Studies Department should be able to provide ready available evidence for reforms to happen internally and externally as well. And lastly, by mainstreaming non-pedagogic research in the teaching profession, focusing, for example, on professional identity, health and well-being, career pathing, it would generate empirical evidence to support policy formulation and revision and discontinuation, which is happening right now with EDCOM 2, 1 and 2. Hopefully, you are aware with the ongoing second congressional education congressional commission looking into the landscape of Philippine education and how we should be able to move forward. So I hope you are keeping abreast with what's happening in EDCOM 2. And I think the year 2 report is out, and it's the same, sadly, story about what needs to be done and what can be done and how things could be changed in teacher education and program delivery in particular. Okay, so having said that, sorry, I hope I was able to impart you some lessons and some learnings and a little bit of inspiration, hopefully, and in moving forward, in hopefully accepting the challenge of shifting paradigms within your own institutions, especially in our field, in our discipline of education. So if you have question, please, I'll open the the room now to questions. Just final ones. A final note. This is shamefully self-promotion. I have a publication coming out soon. This is a book focusing on education and our propensity to immigrate. It is a phenomenon which is quite unique to the Philippines, and the role of education is very. This is the kind of thing that I do, which is very common this part of the world and elsewhere, where there's really an interface of education and society. So this one in particular is education and migration. Just to emphasize, this is self-promotion at the same time, just to drive the message of that changing paradigms or transforming this landscape of the discipline that we are at the moment at this juncture of history. So thank you so much, and apologies for the extension and for the overtime.
Thank you, Dr. Maka, for that comprehensive and thought-provoking discussion. I truly agree that Philippine educational landscape is evolving, and beyond merely improving teacher qualifications, there is also a significant push, to innovate pedagogical approaches that would actually address the systemic challenges in the educational arena. And I also agree with your revolutionary perspective, debunking the cycle of plantation economy that prevails during the colonization until the present time, and that our educational system should create products that are, or teachers that would actually contribute to the society through teacher training and not just merely supply our labor forces. And I think collaboration is also important, as what Dr. Maka mentioned. By the way, I am Darwin Magtangob, and I will be your moderator for the Zoom participants. So at this juncture, I would like to open it up to our Zoom participants to ask their questions to our resource speaker, And while we are waiting for the questions, I've been meaning to ask this as an educator myself in the tertiary education. To what extent should we change our bureaucratic ways of viewing education in the Philippines? Is it like 360-degree, like what the OBE policy or discipline claims, or just a small ripples within our current system?
Thank you for that question. I've been reflecting on this actually in conjunction with what is being, how do you say it, that's being proposed or what's being espoused as the future of education, not just in the Philippines but throughout the world. I'm highlighting this because sometimes we just thought that the things that we are trying to implement or kind of label or to brand in the Philippines, for example, this matatag curriculum, okay, resilient curriculum. I don't know if you have looked into the narratives of international organizations like UNESCO, like OECD. I haven't looked into that as well until I was asked to deliver this talk couple of this parallel talk couple of months ago, and that is where it is coming from. So the change that is being pushed is coming from outside, from outside and inside and outside, and it's becoming more and more of a one size fits all, prescriptions, for change. And that particular question bothers me, and that is one of the criticism as well of these visions of the future, of the role of education, of the role of teachers in particular. And it scares me in a way. So the short answer to the question is it really depends on where you are or where we are. And we start on what we have. Whatever has happened, for example, with the College of Education of Central Luzon State University may not be applicable to your own state colleges. Because you are a state college, they are a university. CLSU is like more than 100 years old. Their College of Education is almost 60 years old or more or older. So there is that. For me, I will still veer away from that one size fits all thinking or just latching on the bandwagon. So the change has to be incremental and it has to have some buy-in, that you as a community of practitioners, as an academic community has to come together and do that exercise of identifying where you are now and where you want to head, where you want to go and where do you want to bring your institution or your department. So that for me is a sensible approach rather than copying, because that is one of the criticisms of in comparative education, when you literally just borrow and transplant a particular model of change from a different context, detached or not applicable to your own context. So that we have to bear in mind. And lastly, baby steps. For as long as you know where you're going, you're headed to, you have to start small. You have to be realistic, and there are and it need that to be quick. Sometimes, and I have to mention, going back to what we experienced in CLSU, it was a very it was a very auspicious time for us to push. I think the factor there is having someone from outside to come in and push and to emphasize that, hey guys, I mean, you are holding back yourselves and you need to move forward and be not afraid to embrace change. Sorry, I hope it's able to answer that question.
Thank you once again, Dr. Maka. Here's another question from our Zoom participants. What are your thoughts on the recently released guidelines for the implementation of K-12 basic education program? And what are the key aspects you find most noteworthy, and what potential challenges or opportunities do you foresee?
Sorry, natatawa ako kasi you're like reminding me of my old life when I was still with the Ministry of Education, with the Department of Education. I was part of the original K to 12 team in 2012-2016 under Secretary Luis term at the department. I don't want to sound biased. At the same time, I disclaimer: I haven't looked into the new policy in detail. I mean, in detail. I just had a glance at it. For me, as you know, as a community, as you there, especially you are. I mean, you are in the country. I'm outside of the country right now. For as long as there's a collective, I would go back to what I always mention in my talks about the wisdom of the crowd in a way. If there's an agreement that this change of policy, whether it's an enhancement or discontinuation of some policies, which is a lot has happened since 2016, for as long as the community, the academic community in within teacher education and education studies agree that there is such a need for change, then I will defer to it and I will agree to it because I don't think no one particular group or individual has monopoly over good ideas as well, just to be on the safe side. But I have to have some caveat on this particular view or perspective. The way we do things in the country in terms of changing policies is very much cyclical, which is, how would say it, parallel with the change of leadership. I mean, there's been a long criticism of Philippine education policy making of how change happen every time there's a change of leadership, which is not good all the time. So I don't know yet how I could be wrong. Hopefully I am wrong. But having a comparative view or perspective and having look into how education policy making changes in other countries where I have been, which I have studies, they don't really do education policy making change along that line. But it's a very political specific exercise. And it's also the same in our country. But let's still hope for the best. I think the intention is still good. Whatever changes that we have put into place in relation to K to 12. I was listening yesterday to Secretary Angara's interview with Rappler, and yes, it's the same. There's are the same issues, same concerns, and being highlighted when I was with the Department of Education. And well, I think the policies, the policy change and strategies, intervention strategies are still on track. And yeah, let's just hope that it will work this time. But I will still back to what I have mentioned earlier. I'm still for incremental change, baby steps, decentralized. I cannot overemphasize enough. I think that I hopefully the different colleges here would take a position or would embrace their mandate within your own provinces or regions in doing or in contributing this policy change dialogues. So you should be more active because it cannot be a one size fits all policy for everyone across the country. We are 7,100 islands, 46,000 schools, a million teachers, and education personnel.
Thank you, Dr. Maka. Hello po, I am Rovelyn Lejano, another moderator for this discussion. And allow me to read another question from our Zoom participant. On academic gatekeeping and institutional inertia, which is practically happening in almost all HEIs in the country, what practical tips can be done individually to somehow avoid this culture?
You're putting me on a bind. uh, I don't think there's really a specific approach. I think I would say there's a shock therapy in a way. Based on my experience, and I don't know if Dr. Rene Reyes could help me with this particular one. But I think at one I will not stake a claim that I was my presence as an outsider at the time at CLSU's College of Education was instrumental. But partly I would say that uh, um, the role that I played became critical because of the type of leadership they had at the time. So that those are the confluence factors. It was a it. I mean, the idea there is we have nothing to lose if we break these barriers of gatekeeping and if we I mean we steer we steer the whole organization towards this way. I think that was it kind of was a shock therapy because it was from it's kind of a top down bottom up approach, just like parang bibing ka siya. So all at the same time. So we have pressure coming from the top, and at the same time pressure from the how do you say non-aligned forces or those who are not part of the hierarchy trying to push for change. So those are very for me critical factors in pushing for change. Those are the things which for me was the game changer in this particular respect. Even here, as I mentioned earlier, gatekeeping is very much alive. It's fascinating to hear how academics would argue and would fight over practically petty things. And I mean, someone, a disinterested person, a disinterested leader. Dr. Rene Reyes was not from the College of Education. I am an education person, but I am not a teacher education person. I'm coming from that education society scholar type of person, which is a different or a slightly different perspective of how the discipline should be. So I think those are the things which that affected that change in the particular instance in the history of the College of Education of CLSU. So in your organization and elsewhere, you could try that, having be able to convince your top leaders and your common disinterested, non-aligned faculty members to change. Whoever are in the hierarchy, the gatekeepers would eventually buckle down and say that I'm not using the word assault in a negative in a violent way, but this pressure to change is coming from both ends. It's just too much and we have to change course. Yeah.
Thank you once again, Dr. Mark Maka. I think we will have our last question from the Zoom. For you, Sir Mark, what should come first, globalization or localization when it comes to educational or curricular reform? Because this is our common observation when we rush into being global without first thinking of our own context.
Well, we cannot really escape, the two that it's not even a diagram. I think it is a concentric sphere, right? In terms of community, could be national, regional, global. So that is a concentric model of looking of how we look and work within our discipline,
And that informs our perspective, that informs our practice, that informs our view of our field or a discipline. So I don't think that's a black and white question where you have to choose whether it's global or local. I think it's with all from since we started adopting best practices from abroad, even during the pensionados time. I don't know if you know our country's history of education. When we started borrowing innovations, education innovations, innovations in teacher education elsewhere from the US. And lately, hopefully, we are also borrowing or adopting best practices from Indonesia, from Thailand, from Singapore, and the East Asian countries. We are already in that, in that particular um, frame of mind. So local, global, regional view of doing things, of doing research, of informing, curriculum change, of employing effective teacher education strategies is not debatable anymore. It's because we are into it. We are part of it, and we cannot escape it. So it's more of being mindful of what you just highlighted earlier, of not falling into that one size fits all approach of doing things contextually, starting where you are, working on what you have, so your own strengths and your own capabilities, but not losing that vision of where you are headed to, and being informed by what's happening inside and outside, and using it as a tool, for you to move forward. And you may be distracted once in a while, but having that, I think for me, that's crucial really, and I've seen it in CLSU, is that leadership, having that single-minded goal of elevating or maintaining the culture, culture of excellence, of effectiveness, of efficiency. So that those are very, very pragmatic, because I've added this keyword as well, pragmatism. What is applicable to us that we are able to, that we saw elsewhere, that we can adapt and we can innovate in our context. So I think that's the very fundamental one, which is the call of the times. So there's no, it cannot be, it need not be grand, it need not be complicated. It has to be pragmatic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Maka. Now, for the very last question, we would like to hear from one of the students with us in the live audience.
Thank you po. Good afternoon to the participants and good morning to Dr. Maka. I am Prince, a secondary education student from the Aurora State College of Technology. And I'd just like to ask a few questions from your talk. As you have discussed, there is a need for a change in the rigid structure and the breaking of the established group or so-called tribes. And this has been done in your examples, such as in CLSU and in the curriculum change in the Philippines. My question is, with all these changes, how can we ensure that they are effective? Second is, what stops these changes from falling into the same problems that it is supposed to answer? And finally, how can we ensure that these changes are sustainable? That is all. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, those are really interesting questions and difficult ones as well. So salamat sa tanong na yun, okay? Unang-una, especially if you're in education right now, I think modeling, although I'm also, I would consider kind of an old person now as well. I think the kind of modeling that we show to our younger colleagues, and even sa inyo, if you're a student, the way the way we conduct ourselves, the way we lead the organization. And nakikita niyo yon as students, nakikita niyo yon how even your own college is evolving, the decisions that we made is very crucial, I think. So planting that seed, and modeling to younger colleagues, younger faculty members, and for example, telling them, showing to them that having a leadership position is a job which need not be need not become part of your personal identity. Kasi yan ang problema, sorry, I have to say this, towards the end, yung problema ng Pinoy, it becomes your personal identity. You cannot just let go of power. There is this very convoluted, how do I say it, consciousness among Filipinos that once they have power, even in any organization, they cannot just let go of it. But having in mind the welfare or the common good of everyone as the driving motivation in exercising that power vested in you in leading your organization, for me is crucial from the beginning. Just thinking that I am here temporarily and I have this mission, I have to think of everyone's betterment and welfare is crucial. So you let go of that thinking that I have this position in me. I will totally enjoy this. This is how far I can get because this is my personal brand. I'll be remembered for this and that. No, you go beyond that. So ganun din sana. So I mean, you have this complete change, not complete change, but very mindful. Where you are and why you are in that position of power in a way. So for me, that is one. At the same time, conscious din kayo of where you all collectively want to go. I mean, and there's always that space within the organization, even if minsan ganun not strained, but complicated relationships, or you're having those difficult conversations within your department or your college, but you have to have a difficult conversation. And you need not shy away from it. So alam mo yun, sometimes it boils down to human relations. It kind of, the formal, the informal ways of doing things to evolve, change, and to plant that seed, that inception of idea that we need to change, transform, starts with those, the informality of it. I hope you realize that. And Filipinos, we are an Asians, we are very relational yung ating interactions, even leadership. So I hope we capitalize on that one. So hopefully I was able to answer your question, but thank you for that. And having that kind of question means you are aware of what's happening within your institution and elsewhere, even in Philippine academia at large.
Thank you, Dr. Amaka. As much as we want to relay all the questions posed, we are constrained by our limited time. So, in a nutshell, the role of teacher training in shaping the future of education is paramount. Through effective training and crossing the barriers, we can empower educators to produce or to as catalysts to produce teachers, which are not just a part of the labor force or the manpower into education, but teachers who can have a profound impact, not only in the educational community, but in the society as well. We thank you again, Dr. Maka, for giving time to answer all the queries that we have. So this concludes the open forum for this presentation. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rovi and Ma'am Dada, of course. Dr. Maka, good morning po muli. That was a truly enlightening presentation for everybody to realize that there is much more beyond what we have been teaching and what was taught to us, to try to surpass the traditional educational landscape that we are treading. So yun po yung mga nakikita natin na that is what is actually being taught or being explained to us a while ago. So allow me to just read the notes that I have provided here so that I won't be able to go beyond my script. That what Dr. Maka, I believe, wants us to realize is that we must adapt, we must innovate and embrace the changes because there's no such thing as an education that will fit everybody. What might have worked for us may not work for the current generation. And I think that's a really huge burden and challenge for not just policyholders, not just the ones high above, or even us and even those that are being taught. Ano po? So, Dr. Maka, thank you for being one of the people right now that is shedding light, further light into this obstacle that we have to, of course, succeed. Ano po? So, let's give another big hand, a round of applause for Dr. Maka. Ayan. And of course, we would also like to already take this opportunity to award the certificate of recognition to our first presenter. So allow me to read the citations. Aurora State College of Technology School of Education, Center for Educational Research and Resources Development Services. Certificate of recognition is certified and presented to Mark Norman Maka, PhD, for his invaluable service and exemplary performance as resource speaker in the international webinar on paradigm shift in education at the onset of the 21st century, held on February 19, 2025 at Bulwagang Senador Edgardo J. Angara, General Education Building, Aurora State College of Technology, Baler, Aurora, Philippines. Given this 19th day of February 2025, signed Dr. Renato G. Reyes, SUC President 2 of Aurora State College of Technology. Another round of applause po for our first presenter, Dr. Mark Norman Maka. And of course po, sir, we would like to take this opportunity for a photo memorabilia for everybody. And of course, those po na nasa ating Zoom, may we kindly request everyone to open their cameras. We will have Sir Charles to signal us because we believe there might be a lot of slides given the many participants that we have. Sir Charles, just give me the signal. All right. First slide po. 1, 2, 3. Yan. Second slide po. Just keep holding your smiles for 5 or 6 seconds. Third slide po. And then fourth slide. We have a lot. Fifth slide. Okay. Is that a sixth slide? All right. So is it possible for us to also take a picture, the ones here on the live audience? Is it possible? Maybe we could flash Dr. Maka on screen. Ayan. So, paano po, sir, ang ating camera? Ayan. So, bunch in na lang po tayo dun sa picture. Dito? Amazing. Yeah. Let's just head over here. Ayan. Okay. Thank you so much po, Dr. Maka. Maraming salamat po. So I hope we were able to surpass the golden hour and ready ourselves for the second session because this one is quite the controversial topic because it's artificial intelligence and it is currently revolutionizing research and innovation. But does it truly benefit us or does it pose risks to us, to our culture, and the social capital of our higher education? To shed light on this crucial conversation, We have an esteemed expert in research and community services. Let's welcome Dr. Professor Amirul Mukminin, the Director of Research and Community Services at Universitas Jambi, Indonesia. A round of applause, please. Good day, Professor Mukminin. Can you hear
Yeah,
us?
good day. Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud
Okay,
and clear
right.
po.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to share my PPT. Is it, can you see? It's the online one and also the offline one.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay, right. Thank you. Well, I will make it bigger. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Especially, I would like to say thank you very much for the President of Aurora State College for Technology, Dr. Renato G. Reyes, for inviting me to share what we are going to have today. And I think my connection with Dr. Renato G. Reyes has been a long time, I think since 2015, so when Dr. Reyes in CLSU, and until now, I think I'm still connected with CLSU. And right now we have two doctoral students from faculty members from CLSU with full scholarship by our university. So Universitas Jambi, so Dr. Reyes, if some of you faculty members would like to continue doctoral program in our university, we have full scholarship, and maybe we can talk about it later, and maybe I can share the information. So maybe I will invite one or two faculty members, or maybe your master students. We have also program for master students and also for master programs and also doctoral program. Right. So I will again also I would like to say thank you very much the not only to the Aurora State College of Technology, but also all of the organizers of the international webinars, including the Center for Educational Research and Resources Development Services in collaboration with JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines, Bulwagang Agricultural State College, and also Occidental Mindoro State College and Pampanga State Agricultural University. Thank you very much, and also thank you very much for the all of audience online, the offline. So this topic, how this issue, does AI benefit or hurt research and innovation in higher education, and the risk for human and cultural and social capitals. So this issue about AI is a very massive in Indonesia, and I think also in the Philippines and around the world. So uh, a lot of problems caused by using AI, especially in research. So I would like to share some examples. Maybe this the news has been okay. I will say just wait a minute. Okay, here I'm still searching the. Let me see. It doesn't. Sorry, it take a little bit time. So this for example. I hope everybody can see. Everybody can see. Yeah. Okay. For example, here students are likely writing millions of papers with AI. So, for example, Turnitin, a service that checks papers for plagiarism, says its detection tool found millions of papers that may have significance on generated content. So this is one of the risks for using in our higher education throughout the world. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Maybe also some of you have some perspective about the use of AI in research. So I would like to start the 9 risks of artificial intelligence in higher education. So this is also based on what I have and my all faculty members are throughout Indonesia, because I also work for the Minister of National Education in higher education in Jakarta. So I travel a lot uh, throughout Indonesia. So I met some professors and also some teachers, some colleges and also some universities. And the story is the same. That they are worried about using AI in higher education for especially for research. So here, one of the or the 9 risks of artificial intelligence in using in higher education. Number one is job. So here, replacing teachers and professors' position, and it's AI. So students maybe they ask directly to AI instead of asking from their professor in the classroom. Even in the classroom, they use their laptops and everything. So here isolation. So because the connection between student and teachers, they are right now they have AI or ChatGPT, so they prefer use or communicate with AI or ChatGPT or what else. And then here the other thing that very important one is biased informations, because the informations provided by AI through ChatGPT, whatever the software. So we don't know who produced special or produced the information. Okay, and then so the misinformation also one of the 9 risks of the artificial intelligence in higher education. And the most important thing is about cheating. Right now, I mean, students, especially undergraduate students, are very risky. I mean, is to use AI to cheat, because they don't need so much time, or it doesn't take a long time, to get data or to get information from internet or by using AI. And the other important thing is about ethical issues in using, AI, because we don't know the sources of the information. So sometimes we copy and paste the information and put in directly in our own papers. And the other thing is the data privacy and also security and increasing human laziness. So everything is provided by AI. So you don't need to do anything else. Just ask AI and everything is available. So this is one of the concerns as well. And the other thing is lack of critical and analytical thinkings. So these are the 9 risks of artificial intelligence in higher education that we need to pay attention, not only in Indonesia and also but in the Philippines as well. I think so this is a big issue right now. And because every student, especially in my class, graduate and also undergraduate, they prefer using AI, asking AI, everything is AI. However, besides we have the 9 risks of using AI in higher education, but we also have the 6 pros of artificial intelligence in higher education. Here the thing that when you are using AI as a student or as a professor as well, or as teachers or faculty members, we need to be careful using that. Not every information in that you get from AI is what we call it is you need to prove it. You need to check again, check and recheck. So what I mean here that you need to use AI as co-pilot and you are the pilot. So not depends on 100% on AI. So everything is should be checked, double check, or maybe triple checks. But we have also 6 advantages of using artificial intelligence. One of them is ChatGPT. That is, it will help you. I mean, to get very fast information, so assistance, and also looking for information is very fast. You can just talk to AI if you got the software, and then everything will come out. And then individualization. So you don't really depends on teachers, so you can work with machine learning like AI. And also the context personalization determine which students are need support to improve their learning experience. So here, and also the other thing is updated information. So these are 6 pros of artificial intelligence in higher education. So they said the 9 risks of artificial intelligence AI, and also we have 6 first, but you can add more. This is based on the information and when I travel throughout Indonesia and met some professors and also some students graduate and also undergraduate student with the Ministry of National Education in Jakarta. However, here what I mean is, you know, when you are using AI, human capital for the age of generative AI. When I'm talking about human capitals, you know, human consists of knowledge, skill, and how that people invest in and accumulate it throughout their life. So, but when you are using AI, everything you know depend on AI, and it will make you, you know, you will have lack of critical and analytical thinking, and this one it will break, you know, human capital that you already invest for a long time. So you, many some students will not use it because everything is available, everything is provided by AI. So here, I mean, it's one of the risk is there will be lack of critical and analytical thinking. So this also what I'm facing myself. So I'm facing right now. I look at the students, and in one class there are, for example, 25 or 30 students, undergraduate or graduate students here, master program. So they prefer use AI. So here, what I mean, it will, you know, endangers human capitals. The other thing is that here, why is very important. I mean, is to know that it danger human capital. However, AI cannot substitute human intelligence and human resource management, including emotional intelligence, ethical consideration, and adaptability and innovation. So here, I mean, when all of everybody, I mean, the classroom, for example, every professor, every faculty member use AI, but you know, against it's totally different between when you are using AI and when you are not using AI. Because we are when we are talking about AI, so it means you exclude everything about emotional intelligence or maybe even ethical consideration. You just copy and paste, like I mentioned before. Here, let me share with you about the cultural capital for the age of generative AI. What I mean here, cultural capital is a form of social currency, no money. I mean, it's not financial issues, made up the values, experiences, knowledge, and behavior that assist a person direct in a culture. The concept is a way of characterizing non-economic, non-financial, or tangible resources that individual draw on. So that's the concept of cultural capital. But when you have AI, so here what we are going to have that is related to ethical issues. So we will break because we copy and paste, and we will break about ethical issues. That's will break uh, the culture to maintain the standards of quality that we have in academic and higher education. And the other thing that's because here, social capital here, because we are, social um, human being is a social uh, things, let's say like that. So when you are using AI, you are in one room and then everything is there and you are not connected with others people outside. And also it will increase your your laziness when you are using AI. So here are the 3 things that I'm going to say that. So AI will endangers human capital, cultural capital, and also social capital. This is the introduction that I'm going to bring you related to the research that we are going to discuss later on in my next slide. So I will not talk about again much about social capital because I already uh, things. So here, what I'm going to focus on AI research and the risk for human, cultural, and social capital in higher education. So what this is what we are going to focus on 5 major risky issues. The first one is risking the purpose of academic research, here in research, because It means that human capital, social, cultural also will be in dangers. And then risking the practices of finding and reading and evaluating literature. And next one is jeopardizing the practices of academic writing, and then endangering the practice of review article, and the last one, risking the practice of original thoughts. So I'm going to discuss it in next slide. So here's number one, risking the purpose of academic research. So when AI may endanger the purpose of academic research, why? Because if AI does everything, it will undermine, spatial, to be honest to say it will undermine the credibility as researchers, as a students, as faculty member. Because why? Because it would no longer be my or your or our ideas or our ability to design and conduct research in terms of research here. So it belongs to AI. So I would not be the one analyzing the data or writing up the results. So everything is ability, everything is reorganized, everything is provided by AI. So if we say that whose research then, whose ideas, so this is one of the risks using AI in higher education. Now it's happening right now, especially in my country, throughout the country, based on my experience and observation when I visited, every university, because every month I visited almost 4 universities throughout Indonesia. And starting next month, I will continue with my team as well as the one who work in the ministry of. We have almost 400,000 universities in Indonesia, so it's a big issue, right? The next one is risking the practices of finding, reading, and evaluating the literature. As I mentioned earlier that, AI increases human laziness because everything is there. So here AI endangered the practices of finding, reading, and evaluating the literature or the previous studies. Because finding, reading, evaluating, and synthesizing may be tedious, of course, if you do it manually. However, doing literature review is necessary stage for researchers, especially for undergraduate students, graduate, and also even doctoral students. And the problem is, if you do everything, if you do not do it, but AI, so here you lose everything to practice because it takes time to be the one who really are good at finding, reading, and evaluating the literature. But if you just talk to AI, ChatGPT, for example, everything is there. But again, the originality is a big issue, and also to ethical consideration. Ethicals also it's not ethic when it's here when it use everything is based on AI. So this one. And the other one is jeopardizing the practices of academic writing. So, in language element, we have 4 language elements. I think here some of teachers or professor or some of faculty member or students, especially in language education or English education. So when we have listening, we have speaking, reading, and writing. Writing is the last element because it's a very difficult. So in research here, writing research article for many is not enjoyable. Maybe a mini research papers, but writing in collaboration with co-author will get benefit of other real minds providing you with feedback. Or while writing article with AI or ChatGPT application will jeopardize our practices of academic writing as researchers in higher education, especially if you start from undergraduate program and then you are used to using AI. It's very difficult. You lose what we call it the practices of academic writing. So right now, that's what is happening right now in Indonesia. So that's why this I share with this slide when some universities and also organizations invite me to say I really want to share this kind of issue, because if we don't stop, if we don't monitor or evaluate, so it will be a big problem in future. So we will have, of course, we cannot avoid, using AI, but we need to be careful when we are using AI. The other one, this is the most difficult things in doing research, using AI endangering the practices of reviewing articles. Right now, you can talk to AI and then just, I want this, and then everything is coming out, including reviewing articles, because I tested, but until now, I never used AI or ChatGPT, whatever the software. I use, everything is still, I use manual. So the practice of reviewing article cannot be replaced by AI, as it can be biased to detect the aims, methods, finding, and conclusion. I think I need to read this one. However, it will be better to incorporate AI as a tool. Here is, you should underline this, as a tool that can assist us in making the review process more efficient. So this as a tool. I mean, you need to use AI wisely. So the human element is integral to the process of academic review. And if you use AI, it is through a collaborative approach between human reviewers and AI that we can achieve the best outcome. But if you rely on AIs, it will not the best outcome, because first thing that I mentioned about the 9 risks of using AI in research in higher education is that ethical issues. You need to check it. For example, I give you information, what happened to one of my students and also one of faculty members that I met, that some people, they sue it to retract the paper because some sentence that in paragraph in some articles use the sentence, the same sentence from other papers, and they did not cite the sentences or the paragraphs. So it's easier right now to check it. So that's why I said this, we need to be careful when we are using AI here, especially when reviewing articles and then use citation and everything. And then this is about risking the practices of original thought. AI may jeopardize the practices of original thought. Here, what I would like to say that this is the interesting thing part here. The persistent pursuit of original thought is undeniable as foundation of our scholarly work. The use of AI to review your draft writing research and to co-partner in writing process with AI may be risky to the practice of original thoughts or idea. So my question is, who's writing, whose paper? AI's paper, you or your team papers. So that's the original thoughts. I mean, that's one of the most dangerous issues when you are using when you are totally using AI. So here, I mean, in my short presentation, again, I would like to underline the existing and potential drawbacks of AI, artificial intelligence, and its risk for human, cultural, and social capital in research and higher education require, again, careful planning and consideration, as well as ongoing evaluation, especially for the higher education, starting from undergraduate until graduate students. I think that's my short presentation, moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor McMeanin, for a very stimulating lecture on both the benefits and drawbacks of using AI in research and innovation in higher education. I am Rovelyn Lejano, a moderator for this discussion, and we have several questions here from the participants, both in Zoom and Facebook Live. So let us begin with the question. What should be the basis for the formulation of higher education policies on using AI?
Okay, all right. That is a good questions and very thoughtful answers. But the things that is right now, all people in higher education throughout the world, they use AI. What you should do, for example, in terms of policymakers, start, for example, in our state, technology university, what you need to make, again, you need to have what kind thing that software, for example, authenticate and also turn it in. That you need to check it, and also you need to check it online. So, for example, papers, students' papers, these undergraduate papers that very risky. I mean, some students are. I would like. I would not say they are lazy, but some students are lazy to write by themselves or write manually. Instead of write manually, they directly use AI. So here the university especially, and starting from the president until the head of department, they need to have some divisions. This is what we are doing right now. I mean, it's in my department, especially right now. I'm heading a research center, and we need to take all of the research proposal or research paper, and then we check it. Like when you submit to journal, international journal, you need to check it, everything, and then so you need the policy, how many percent the similarity index you need to have. For example, 10%, 20%, but also lecturers here also faculty members, they need to have their own way, but to know it, we can feel it. But the if students or faculty member use papers, the same paper, or they just reproduce the same paper. But the thing that is, it is quite expensive, of course, that if you buy a kind of software like Turnitin and also authenticates. So, but in the condition right now, the current condition, you have to have that kind of software to anticipate, massive plagiarism, massive copy and paste of papers. That you can change only the title, and you can ask AI to change it to reproduce it. So the thing that you need to do is, right, what we are starting right now is to have what we call it plagiarism checkers, especially Turnitin and Authenticate. However, it is very expensive. That's all. That's one of the ways right now. I don't know. I mean, it's the other ways, but because they always have their way. I mean, to get out from plagiarism checkers. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Professor
Yeah.
McMeany. And
You
I
can.
agree that,
Yeah. You can call me Amir. I mean, it's just very solid one. Yeah.
yes, sir. And
Okay.
yes, I agree that the rise of AI in higher education poses questions about its impact in higher education, and that the challenge lies in balancing the advantages, as you have mentioned, of AI with the need to maintain genuine innovation and research integrity in our academic pursuits. Now, for the follow-up question, sir, what is the ethically accepted level or extent of AI usage in research and innovation in higher education?
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. So this is one of the issues, there's ethical issues right now, especially when you are doing this. I give, to answer this one, I give one example. For example, when you are doing literature review, or when you are reviewing previous studies related to what you are doing, then you need to check it. Okay, you can use AI, for example. You can use AI to find related studies related to your issue, your topic that you are investigating. And then you need to double check again. You need to get back, you need to look at, you need to look for the original source, because AI take or everything or from a variety of sources that maybe endangers, maybe risky, and that's very I mean, the sources that you use, you need to double check and triple check. You need to see, for example, the names over there, for example, Reyes 2024. You need to check it whether the real Reyes or other Reyes. So because if you directly use, although AI can provide very complete information, but you need to double check, because if not, maybe someone else, if you, for example, already publish it, publish your recent article or publish your book, And then seem that some other people who are in the same field with you, and then find out that those paragraphs, those sentences, or even those pages not belong to you. I mean, not your original thoughts, but you copy and paste, then they will sue you. So one of the best ways is that you need to double check again, and especially if you are faculty members and you have students' papers as well, and then you need also to double check it.
Yes, thank you for that. So the key point here is us being teachers and educators, we should also be knowledgeable in using AI so that we
Yes.
can actually double check it or triple check it, actually to know how or to know if it is within the ethically accepted level of a usage of AI in higher education.
Yep.
So we also have another question posed here. And it reads,
Yeah.
okay, so it reads, during our proposal assignment in
Yeah.
one of our courses at the PhD program of UNJA University, I wrote an introduction for my proposal. Since I have Grammarly installed in my MS Office, the free version, it corrected some of my grammar and other issues. After completing the introduction, I checked it using an AI app, and it flagged the text as 100% AI generated. My reaction was, wow, why? Could it be the Grammarly? What are your thoughts on this? So this is from Michael Mananghaya from CLSU.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of my doctoral students in our university and with a fully scholarship from our university. So again, this is a kind of promotions. If some of you want to come to study, Dr. Reyes want to send some students or some faculty member to study here, it will be, a big welcome. Okay, right. So when you use Grammarly or you use whatever grammar checkers, whatever you have the software, again, you need to be careful. I think here, human being is the best analyst. Human being is the best tool. And even, until now, I never use AI. Until now, I never use what I call it Grammarly. I use still old-fashioned way that I use. So when I check, I give example when I check to the Turnitin, to detect the plagiarism level or similarity levels, then I found it's very clear that it's very low, even below 10%, because I wrote manually by using own ideas in order to avoid the plagiarism, the high plagiarism level. So again here, when you check with AI, maybe the sources that you took, although you do it unconsciously or consciously, and then AI or Turnitin will relate to other sources that maybe you forget to cite the sources in your paper. So that's why it comes to 100%, although you already any kind of Grammarly checkers, something like that. So the best thing that one of the ways that maybe you can use check it, I mean, is do it manually. And then again, this is based on my experience. If you keep using AI and then keep using ChatGPT, and then in your copies or even, the software will detect directly. So when you apply, you check it in order to look at or to see the plagiarism level, and then the software directly will relate to where you get or where you got the sources. So that's the experience that I have. So again, I would like to say that using AI or using any kind of softwares that you cannot rely 100%, because not only endangers the ethical issue, but also endanger your original thought. Thank you.
At this juncture, we would like to ask one of our students here in
Yeah.
ASCOT for their questions.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. I am Janmar L. Silva, a secondary education student majoring in social studies here in Aurora State College of Technology. As for my question, how could we promote strikidonia or the joy of giving up on something such as the doubts and the unethical and abusive usage of AI of the students in particular and the people in general in order to make room for the development and the maximum utilization of artificial intelligence while also taking into account the pros and risks of it? That's all po.
Right, very good question. So have you tried or do you always use AI or ChatGPT? That's my question. Have you? Have you had any experience to use AI?
There are times po that I use AI such as in correcting grammar so that I can be sure of my answers po.
All right. So yeah, and then that's so my student always start. They use AI and then they continue in. But again, I think as undergraduate students or graduate students, it's common. I mean, to use AI as a tool. But again, the university, although it is not easy to control, not easy to monitor the use of AI because again, you can use wherever as long as you have the software. So it's not easy for the university, even the president of the university, until the department heads cannot control you 100%. So here, what we need to have is your own, I mean, in your heart, ethical. I mean, if you have habit to copy and paste, and then it will become habit in the future. And then if you are lazy to find, original thoughts, and then it will lead you to do the same thing in the future. So here, first, get back to yourself whether you want always to produce your own ideas, you always to produce or to develop yourself, or you want to take everything, in a very quick way. I mean, to finish your student assignments, finish your papers, and everything because for example, you have a lot of credit hours in every semester, and then you don't have time. Now you have an AI, and then this is time for you to stop. And then, for example, you use AI, and then your grade or your score is very good. For example, 1.0. The highest, for example, or in Indonesia is 4 for every for every course that you are taking. So again, first get back to yourself. I mean, it's your heart. You want to be the one who always have your original thoughts, or the one who, and second one, I think you need to be as role model. Although you are using AI to write your assignments and then to finish your assignment, where, for example, writing research papers, but you give an example, a model that I use it, but AI as my co-pilot, not a pilot. So AI, I use AI in order to make me to have, as I mentioned here, to assist you to get information very quickly, and then you check again. And then AI also to help you to get update information. So if you use this one, I mean, it's among the pros and also the cons, and then if you can balance, and then you will be the one who will be successful not only as student but also as a model for your friends or for your classmates. And then also in future, I think if you keep there that you in your heart, I always want to have the original thoughts. Although I have a software, although I have everything, so you will be successful in future.
Yes.
I think that's besides. I mean, if your university has, for example, Aurora State, has its own policy related to use of, AR or ChatGPT or whatever the software that will help students to increase or to speed up how to make their assignment.
Okay. So we're now down to the last question.
Yeah.
So the question reads, every semester, we as educators are
Yeah.
assessing the performance of our students. My question is this: what role does AI play in evaluating student performance and providing feedback to them?
Well, this, again, this is very difficult question. I mean, if you depends on AI to evaluate your students, evaluate is the performance of your student. But again, every university, every department has its own policy in order to determine these students like this student like this, and that student like. And I give an example right now. The first time when you enter the room, if it is not online like this, you enter the room and you meet the students, and you can recognize even when the students like this, even you can categorize this student like this student like this. And then the what we call it, every student has his or her own ability. Of course, we are not allowed to differentiate them in terms of their language, in terms of their backgrounds, but we can identify students. So if you are if you want to use AI to evaluate, you know, your students, and I would like to say that you need to be careful because every student has its own, her or his own competency, so one's ability. And even the first semester, the first meeting, maybe you see the student is very silent, maybe in the next meeting will be different, will be very active. So again, I would like to say that we need to be careful when we are using AI, not only in research in higher education, but also in evaluating our own students. Again, manual. If you evaluate a student manually, it will be the best thing because it what we call it original ones. And if you use AI, in what case? I mean, why we need AI to evaluate our students? But if your question is about to evaluate, for example, one of their papers, because what I'm talking about here is more related to research papers, starting from undergraduate to graduate, even to faculty members, because I found more and more papers in the international journal also the same, but the title is similar, but the place of research is different. For example, one in the Philippines and one in Indonesia, but the content and also the way the paper is presented is like Miller's. So here, that's the case that I would like to raise up here is about how you use AI in research. But in terms of evaluating your students using AI, you need to be careful, as I mentioned earlier. Thank you.
All right. That is noted, Sir Amiru. So,
Yeah.
to sum up, the key points of our open forum for this presentation is that we should always check all the outputs, the research proposals, and it is better or it is encouraged that we do manually checking if we can. And as artificial intelligence presents a transformative potential for education, there are benefits, but we should always exercise caution in implementing AI usage in higher education. So there should be a balanced approach that integrates AI while preserving essential human elements in academic writing.
Again, thank you, Professor McMeanin, for sharing your transformative ideas and perception to this highly significant and relevant issue in higher education nowadays. And with that, Our open forum for this event concludes. Let's continue to the program. Miss Nikki?
Maraming salamat. Thank you, Ma'am Rovi and Ma'am Dada. And of course, thank you, Dr. Mukminin, for that eye-opening discussion. So as we have seen, this is almost like a refresher or a further justification of what was recently held for our education students before with the panel discussion about the being AI being either a friend or foe. So Dr. Mukminin was able to raise very critical points such as AI being something that is easily accessible, at the same time is going to increase our efficiency as students, as teachers, as the higher ups that are taking care of us. Ayan. And of course, it also presents or shows to us how much of a double-edged sword AI could be. If it is left with the less practiced students or people in general, then we will be left with very unoriginal people. So, with that, it the talk is actually, or the insights provided to us are reminders that while technology continues to evolve, is that we must remain mindful of its long-term effects for us as human and our social structures. So it's really a conversation that needs continuous reaction, reflection, and of course, action as well again. Once again, let's give a big round of applause for Dr. Mukminin. And now, Professor, are you still there po? We would like to award you your certificate. Is Professor Mukminin still with us?
Yes,
Ayan.
yes, I am. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Here we go for the citations. Aurora State College of Technology, School of Education, Center for Educational Research and Resources Development Services. Certificate of Recognition. This is to certify that Professor Amirul Mukminin, PhD, for his invaluable service and exemplary performance as a resource speaker in the international webinar on paradigm shift in education at the onset of the 21st century, held on February 19, 2025 at Bulwagang Senador Edgardo Angara, General Education Building, Aurora State College of Technology, Baler, Aurora, Philippines. Given this 19th day of February 2025, signed Dr. Renato G. Reyes, SUC President 2 of Aurora State College of Technology. So once again, another round of applause po for our Dr. Amirul Mukminin. And of course, another photo opportunity po. Which would we prioritize this time? Should we go for the live audience first? Since it's already prepared. So everybody in the live audience, kindly turn to this camera over here for our photo opportunity. All right. At the count of screenshots are ready. 1, 2, 3, smile. Sir Charles daw yung screenshot natin Kunin na lang natin later on. And now, we will proceed with the photo opportunity for our virtual audience, of course. So first slide po, I hope you have your cameras ready and all of you are freshened up. First slide. Next slide. Another slide, the third one. Fourth slide. Fifth slide. Sixth slide. Okay. 7. All right. Are we good? Okay. Ayan. So, before we head off, and thank you again, sir. I hope you could help us with the formulation of the manuals. Actually, Professor Mukminin was very repetitive of the reminder for us to have manuals, not just for research purposes, but actually for the whole academe. Ayan. And now, before we move on to the conclusion of our event for today, let us have a moment, let us take this moment to see the info session provided to us by Japan.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I would like to introduce JSPS and our international programs. JSPS is one of the funding agencies of Japan, established in 1932. Annual budget is about 2.0 billion US dollars. We support curiosity-driven research activities. It means, in principle, we don't decide any specific theme in advance, and we leave it to each individual researcher's curiosity. We call it in other words a bottom-up approach, so we cover all fields of not only the natural sciences but also of the humanities and social sciences. To realize this policy, we invite applications through open calls, and we work hard to ensure fairness in its review process through peer review. This slide shows our international programs. Our international programs focus on mobilizing researchers and building broad and strong international collaborative networks. These programs have 5 pillars, as shown here, and today I will introduce the programs shown in red. These pie charts show the number of researchers exchanged through our international programs. In fiscal year 2019, more than 3,000 foreign researchers were invited to Japan, including 43 from Philippines, and more than 4,600 Japanese researchers were sent abroad, including 69 to Philippines, through our international programs. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, the numbers were significantly reduced in fiscal year 2020 and 2021. But in fiscal year 2022, it has been recovering to the level approaching as before the pandemic. JSPS has been carrying out bilateral programs in the form of joint research projects and seminars based on MOU for more than 50 years. This slide shows our basic scheme for carrying out bilateral collaboration. Under this scheme, JSPS and its counterpart funding agencies jointly select projects and provide matching funds. We have 5 counterpart agencies with MOU in ASEAN. In fiscal year 2024, we founded 10 new research projects out of 93 applications. This program lasts for 1 to 3 years, so we have 31 ongoing projects in this fiscal year. JSPS offers another bilateral program without MOU, called Open Partnership Joint Projects and Seminars. In this scheme, JSPS supports researchers in Japan, and the counterpart researchers are not required but expected to secure their own matching funds from any funding agencies. JSPS offers another bilateral program without MOU, called Open Partnership Joint Projects and Seminars. In this scheme, JSPS supports researchers in Japan, and the counterpart researchers are not required but expected to secure their own matching funds from any funding agencies. This slide shows our international program for multilateral research collaboration, the Core-to-Core program. Application of this project requires the participation of 2 or more partner countries. It means Japan, 1 ASEAN country, and at least 1 other country. This slide shows ongoing multilateral collaboration programs between ASEAN countries and Japan in fiscal year 2024. 21 programs are now operated under this Core-to-Core program in ASEAN. This slide shows our fellowship programs for inviting foreign researchers to Japan. JSPS has a variety of invitation fellowship programs for overseas researchers, including PhD students and mid-career researchers. As you can see, despite of COVID-19 pandemic, postdoctoral fellows from Philippines are invited every year to Japan through this program. This slide shows our fellowship programs for inviting foreign researchers to Japan. JSPS has a variety of invitation fellowship programs for overseas researchers, including PhD students and mid-career researchers. As you can see, despite of COVID-19 pandemic, postdoctoral fellows from Philippines are invited every year to Japan through this program. This slide shows our fellowship programs for inviting foreign researchers to Japan. JSPS has a variety of invitation fellowship programs for overseas researchers, including PhD students and mid-career researchers. As you can see, despite of COVID-19 pandemic, postdoctoral fellows from Philippines are invited every year to Japan through this program. JSPS supports the activities of alumni associations of former fellows who have participated in JSPS fellowship programs. We offer Bridge Fellowship Program by which overseas researchers who participated in a JSPS fellowship program in Japan and joined an alumni association after returning their home country are provided opportunities to revisit Japan. We now have more than 8,000 members in 20 alumni associations. JSPS supports the activities of alumni associations of former fellows who have participated in JSPS fellowship programs. We offer Bridge Fellowship Program by which overseas researchers who participated in a JSPS fellowship program in Japan and joined an alumni association after returning their home country are provided opportunities to revisit Japan. We now have more than 8,000 members in 20 alumni associations. JSPS supports the activities of alumni associations of former fellows who have participated in JSPS fellowship programs. We offer Bridge Fellowship Program by which overseas researchers who participated in a JSPS fellowship program in Japan and joined an alumni association after returning their home country are provided opportunities to revisit Japan. We now have more than 8,000 members in 20 alumni associations.
All right, so if we're ever interested in participating and being part of the JSPS program, just kindly visit the necessary websites posted and informed to us a while ago. So concluding our final session, our very fruitful session rather, we have the final words coming from two very important people. Let's call in first our Board Secretary and Director for International, External, and Alumni Affairs, Sir Joseph T. Gonzalez. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, Ma'am Nikita. I have a closing remarks prepared using AI. But I would like to thank the organizers of this event, especially the School of Education through the Center for Educational Research and Resources Development Services, the Japan Society for the Promotion of Sciences, JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines, Bulacan Agricultural State College, Occidental Mindoro State College, and Pampanga State Agricultural University, and of course our two prestigious speakers, Dr. Mark Norman Maka and Dr. Amirul Mukminin. This is the third in a series of webinars that happened just in a period of 2 months, and we will have more webinars in the coming weeks and months. But this one is special because we're holding this event at the same time as we're celebrating the Foundation Day of Aurora Province and also the birthday of Mrs. Aurora Ragon Quezon, who I think this event will serve as ASCOT's way of honoring her legacy because she's one of the proponent and patron of education, especially in Baler, in Aurora Province. If you don't know, Doña Aurora is during her time is the one who made possible the completion of full elementary grades in Baler Central because before during her time primary lang po ang ino-offer sa Baler Elementary, and you still have to go to other places like Lucena or Nueva Ecija to complete your elementary, and she was the one who made it possible to have a complete elementary. She's also the initiated establishment of Mount Carmel by asking priests, inviting priests to come to Baler and establish a school. And she also sent so many Baler residents on scholarships, especially nurses and teachers, the early teachers from Baler, in Baler Central, like Mrs. Messina, Mrs. Guerrero, and so many nurses. So, sa lahat pong everyone who attended this event, especially on a holiday, I would like to thank all of you for attending, for taking your time to come here. Some of you may consider this as just part of your job as a teacher, an educator, and some will consider this as a great sacrifice for coming on a holiday. But thank you for coming, to everyone, especially the students and the teachers. So, on behalf of the college, thank you very much po sa inyo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Joseph. And of course, another closing remarks will be provided to us by the JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines President, Dr. Karl Marx A. Quiazon.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude today's insightful webinar, we are reminded of the transformative journey that education and innovation continue to take in our rapidly evolving world. Our first speaker posed the thought-provoking question: does AI benefit or hurt research and innovation in higher education? These open our eyes to the delicate balance between harnessing technological advancement and safeguarding our human, cultural, and social capitals. It is a call to innovate responsibly, ensuring that progress complements the value that defines us. Our second speaker then challenged us to look beyond teacher training, urging us to rethink and transform the field of education within Philippine academia. This reminds us that the future of education relies not only on adapting to change, but on leading that change with vision and purpose. These discussions have undoubtedly sparked new ideas and perspectives. It is now our responsibility as educators, researchers, and leaders to carry forward these insights, to push boundaries, and to inspire the next generation of thinkers and innovators. On behalf of the organizing committees, the JSPS Alumni Association of the Philippines, Aurora State College of Technology, Bulwagang Agricultural State College, Occidental Mindoro State College, and Pampanga State Agricultural University, we extend our deepest gratitude to our distinguished speakers for sharing their expertise and to all participants for their active engagement. Thank you for being part of this meaningful conversation. We look forward to continuing these dialogues and to driving positive change in our educational landscape. Have a wonderful day and see you in our future events. Thank you very much.
Ayan, thank you very much, Dr. Karl Marx. Today's discussion has actually taken us through the highs and lows of both AI and our educational landscape, the future of education, and everything in between. From mind-blowing insights to the thought-provoking questions, one thing is for sure, and that is learning never stops, and neither do the possibilities. A huge shout out, of course, to the brilliant speakers for sharing their wisdom, and to everybody that has tuned in virtually and, of course, face-to-face, taking notes and probably realizing what they could do and their hidden potentials. Let's take these ideas, run with them, and maybe, just maybe, change the game in research and education. And with that, we officially wrap up today's session. Keep questioning, keep innovating, and most importantly, keep having fun with learning. Until next time, stay curious and stay awesome. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Ayan pa. Of course po, we would like to take this opportunity to grab a photo opportunity po with our VPAA, our board sec, our president, our faculty, and of course ang mga ating chikiting. Maraming salamat po. Punta po muna tayo dito to have ourselves covered. If you would like to freshen up, of course, you could also freshen up. Naka-off na po ang live, I believe. If we're already fresh, pwede na po tayo dito sa harapan. Okay po. Sa center po natin, of course, ang ating BPAA and President. May we ask for your presence sa gitna po para sa aming picture taking. Okay po. And then kids, yes po, yes po. Sirs, of course, dito tayo kids. Sa likod po tayo. You'll always be kids in my eyes. Pwede po bang ako yung mag-announce? Congratulations po kay Ma'am Glenda sa booth natin. Nanalo na po tayo. Wow. Dito po kayo. Yan. Oh. Kanino yun? Okay po. Pwede pong kasama po namin ng ang IU team. ICTU team. Siyempre, isang tawag lang po namin. Kahit kulang-kulang po ang aming mga materials. Yan. Sir Aaron, would it be possible kasama kayo kahit sa selfie lang? Ay, hindi po. Pero, alright. Hello po. Okay. Nagre-request po uli kahit faculty lang po with press and BP. With press and BP po uli faculty. Nalimutan pong mag-video para sa ASCOT Reels daw po. So,